Old barbershops turned into slow travel destinations, Taiwan's only remaining salt fields, and a gastronomic capital with a decidedly sweet tooth. These are just some of the things you'll find in Tainan. For the first stop in our trip to Tainan, the mayor has arranged for us to meet at a fruit store. But apparently it's not just a place to buy fruit, it's also been a popular local hangout for more than 70 years. 你今天带我们来的这个地方是什么地方？
这个地方就是我们台南很多文化荟萃的地方，还有最好吃的在这边，就是我们隔壁的丽丽冰果室啊。
Many of the fruits they sell at the store are grown right here in Tainan. The city is home to some of the nation's biggest fruit exports, like pineapples, mangoes, and avocados. They also grow more pomelos here than any other place in Taiwan.
我们台南人很好客，所以这些通通都给你吃，没关系。
谢谢市长准备。
中秋节要吃这个了
OK，
是这个 pomelo。
pomelo 有2种。
你可以先吃红色的
OK，
因为这个时候白色的比较甜。怎么样？
酸酸甜甜的，
对，
很好吃。Tainan is known as the gastronomic capital of Taiwan. Many of the local dishes, even the savory ones, are sweeter here than in other parts of the country. And there's a reason for that. Tainan was once a big producer of sugarcane, and people came to associate sweet foods with wealth. But imagine my surprise to learn that they even dip their tomatoes in sugar.
因为台南有很多 sauce。
OK， 这个 sauce 里面是什么呢？
糖吧，
糖、白糖，然后姜，好像也有梅子粉，对不对？然后还有酱油膏。哇，好吃，真的很特别，这个真的跟我们台北吃的不太一样了啊。The fruit shop's owner, Li Wenxiong, says they've been eating tomatoes like this for as long as he can remember. Li has been collecting interesting facts about fruit for years, publishing his own monthly brochure full of pictures, stories, and local history. Back in the day, he says, the fruit shop was a popular hangout. People would even come here on blind dates.
朋友来，拢会来这吃水果啊。这嘛咖啡厅满四界，较早拢会来开四界。
Fruit stores like this one still play an important role in the lives of the Tainan people. They may no longer come here to find love, but after 70 years, they still come here for their shared love of fruit. If you drive through the city of Tainan, you might find yourself stuck in a roundabout like this one. That's because the city has more traffic circles than any other place in Taiwan. And what's surprising is the inspiration behind the roundabouts. The Arc de Triomphe in Paris. When the Japanese occupied Taiwan in the late 1800s, they had trouble navigating the streets of Tainan, and they looked to the French capital for a solution. The city planners built 7 roundabouts and made them centers of transportation and governance in the early 1900s. This is one of the biggest roundabouts in all of Tainan. 7 major roads converge at this one circle. It's home to an old city hall, an old fire station, a police station, and a bank. So as you can see, it's not just a traffic solution, it's a destination in its own right. Just don't get stuck driving around in circles. Now, if you do get stuck, lean into it. Enjoy the view. Tainan is actually encouraging slow travel. They want visitors to take the time to explore the local history and culture. One way to do that is to get a shave and a haircut. Turns out that Tainan has the highest density of barbershops of any city in Taiwan.
理容院，因为它有很多文化的气息，所以我们推荐很多外来的朋友去那边尝试一下。那其实台南市生活步调比较慢，很优雅。
This Taiwanese-style barbershop offers full service from head to toe. In 3 hours, you can get a haircut, massage, beard trim, shave, facial, and even a mani-pedi for just $85 US. The owner, who's run the business for almost 50 years, is proud of what she has to offer.
我感觉我安尼经安尼，我做满意的，互人去头剃水，啊，做送个 放金路放送，这是我上大的欢喜。
With the influx of modern hair salons, it's been hard for traditional barbershops to compete. But Huang's daughters got creative, sharing the stories of the family business online. These days, 90% of their customers are from out of town, people looking to get pampered in the embrace of old Tainan. When I heard that barbershops in Tainan were making a comeback, I was skeptical. I mean, I didn't imagine spending a couple of hours of my vacation doing this. But after a shave and a bit of a massage, I think I'm starting to understand the allure of slow travel. One of Huang's daughters saw other possibilities in the family business too. She had the bold idea of turning an unused space into a hostel. They used the massage chairs as beds for backpackers and as spaces to showcase the work of local artists.
从理容院认识台南这个城市，所以他把各个理发师在做各种按摩服务项目的手，把它配置在这个长条形的上面。然后其实他把台南市的道路变成头发海，把圆环变成它这整个地图里面一个很重要的一个形象。然后所以其实圆环代表客人的身体，可是也代表这个城市。
With a little bit of creativity and a deep affection for the family business, Zeng has brought about a renaissance. The old barbershops of Tainan were facing an uncertain future, but now they're part of a slow travel revolution, offering visitors a deeper way to connect with the city and its people. The streets of Tainan are anything but quiet. There are religious festivals almost every day of the year. After all, Tainan has a higher density of temples than anywhere else in Taiwan. And behind the religious fervor, there's a whole industry of artisans, silently creating the items that keep these traditions alive.
在国家的艺术奖里面，我们叫做人间国宝，台南的人数是最多的哦，所以说这个让我们走出去都觉得我们台南人的骄傲。
Artisans moved to Tainan to create the embroidery industry back in the Qing dynasty. Their handiwork was so delicate that it found favor with the emperor. Today you can still find this artwork in Buddhist and Taoist temples and ceremonies, on altar cloths, tapestries, and even the clothing worn by deities. The founder of this embroidery shop was given the title Preserver of National Intangible Cultural Assets. Today, I've come to learn the art of 3D embroidery.
从这里面钻过去。
哦，
对，然后
非常厚。
对，你看它这个棉花都铺得很高。
这样对吗？
好，可以。
You have to have really good eyesight in order to be able to do this. This is incredible. She's not wearing glasses. She can see everything. I can't see anything. This piece we're working on is a 5-meter-long tapestry. It's so heavy that it takes 2 adults to carry it during religious processions. And the labor that goes into one of these is stunning. It takes 8 people working full-time for 3 months to complete, at a cost of over $30,000 US. Many of Taiwan's traditional industries are in danger of dying out, but this shop is thriving. There are 15 artisans working here. Now, you may think that demand would be low considering the exorbitant cost and the fact that you only use these tapestries once or twice a year. But if you order now, there's a 4-year wait.
很多人可能认为我们要转型，其实我们不会转型，只是说我们希望把刺绣的生命能够去更加丰富它，而不是认为说它就是单单只能拜拜用。
In recent years, the traditional embroidery of Tainan has found a place in the realm of mortals. No longer confined to temples, it can be seen in art collections and even on the catwalks of international fashion shows. All thanks to the dedication and creativity of the artisans who make it. For the next stop in our Tainan tour, we leave the city center behind and head to the coast in search of another Qing Dynasty tradition, the nation's only remaining salt fields. But first, a detour through the wetlands. If you look at it from above, the expansive shoreline of Tainan looks like Swiss cheese. It's dotted with lagoons and estuaries. This is the Sicao wetlands. and one of the best ways to explore them is on a raft floating through what's known as the Green Tunnel.
感觉有点不像台湾了。
对，所以我们也别称袖珍版的亚马逊河哈。
We're traveling down an old drainage ditch that was built during the Japanese colonial period. Today, it's a conservation area recognized by the International Convention on Wetlands, and it's teeming with life.
那小小只有没有看到那一只螯特别大？
有看到了。
有哈，那个是很有名的招潮蟹，对。
There's plenty to see along the banks, but make sure you keep an eye on those pesky vines overhead.
比较少看过海的外国的朋友来台南，我会建议他走海边。哇，海边很多漂亮的盐田啊，很多海鲜啊。
The salt fields of Jingzaijiao are the only salt fields left in all of Taiwan. They date back more than 200 years to the Qing dynasty. The fields are paved with broken roof tiles. Farmers fill the fields with seawater and leave it to dry in the sun. Then they come back and harvest the crystallized salt that's left on the tiles. The workers tell me that the salt is like wine. Its flavor is influenced by the terroir.
金仔饺自己的盐花，它吃起来的味道是润的，
对，是润，
对不对？它不会让你觉得不舒服。
它是一个很温柔的盐巴。
对，就是有温度，很温柔的。有温度。
The salt fields had to shut down in 2001 due to high labor costs. It was too hard to compete with more efficient salt producers overseas. But they later reopened in a bid to preserve Taiwan's centuries-old salt-making heritage. These days, the country relies more on imported salt, but if you still want a taste of old Taiwan, you can try a bowl of tofu pudding made from salt brine, enjoy a sea salt-flavored ice cream, or even buy a bag of salt made by local farmers right in these fields. When it comes to old buildings, Tainan has a lot of them. Take this building, for example, the Hayashi department store, which opened its doors in 1932 during the Japanese colonial period. It's the second oldest department store in all of Taiwan, but it's the oldest one still in operation. This grand old store contains the first elevator in southern Taiwan. And if you take it up to the rooftop, you'll find the country's only Shinto shrine located in a department store. One of the best ways to experience old Tainan is to stay in a building that's been renovated as a guest house. Wooden window frames, terrazzo floors, and old-fashioned stone bathtubs like this one. These used to be fixtures in almost every household in Taiwan. Today, they're prized reminders of the past and the reason why many people choose to stay in Tainan's retro guest houses.
可以去细细体会，就是从前的设计的这个空间。那透过住宿的话，你可以感受当时住在这里的人是怎么样生活。
The last stop in our trip to Tainan is the place where it all began, Fort Zelandia. The Dutch military built this defensive stronghold in 1624. It changed hands many times over the years and was eventually rebuilt and renamed Anping Old Fort. The observation tower was built by the Japanese. It's become a landmark, offering a bird's-eye view of Anping. Local historian Lin Qitian says that visitors often overlook the most historic part of the old fort.
最有风味的就是要看这个墙壁了这墙壁到现在是400年了。
Overgrown by banyan trees, this brick wall is the only evidence of Dutch history left inside the fort. Lin knows this area like the back of his hand. He lived inside the grounds as a child when his father served as Anping district chief in the 1940s.
我曾经在那个楼层上面那个地方有那个阶梯，躺在那个地方看天空，发现那个北斗七星，哇，心胸就很开阔。那个开放式的空间对我们安平人来讲，就是呢非常亲近。
Today, the place where Lin once lived is now a gift shop, but remnants of the old fort can still be found scattered throughout the neighborhood. A narrow alley leads us to the back of a temple where an ancient fort wall stands quietly. And it's easy to miss the remains of this 400-year-old gate standing next to modern houses.
In most places in Taiwan, it's difficult to find any traces of history. But here in Tainan, there are historic sites almost everywhere you turn. And they aren't just dusty old monuments. The people of Tainan have found creative ways of actually using them, of infusing them with vitality and incorporating them right into daily life.
While the old buildings of Tainan are worth celebrating, the real treasures are its residents. The artisans passing on the city's traditions, the people helping visitors experience the city's past, and the storytellers keeping the city and its memories alive.